Everyone doesn't have winning in them. Wow. That's the conversation we're going to have here today on Relationship Thursday. How you guys doing? This is Ron Simplify Myers, author, podcaster, and your uplifting life partner. Now, I was having this conversation with a gentleman, and he knew about my book, and so that's why he was having the conversation. And basically, what he asked is, what do you do with people who have no inspiration, people that aren't driven, people that it's just not in them? And I had shared with them, I said, well, everyone has it in them. I said, it's just some people have beaten it out of them, or at least from a mental perspective, they're there, but it can't be revived. And he's like, no, no. He's like, I don't. He said, I don't believe. I just believe that some people just have it and some people don't. And what it does, it did is it reminded me of a paper. I think I think I might have mentioned it before, but it was Awakening. The oh man, it was regaining your. See, I'm thinking of Tony Robbins material about awakening the giant, but mine was regaining your championship. And basically, what I was talking about is when we're born, we all believe that everything is possible, that we could. I mean, every kid you talk to believe they could be Superman or they could be firemen or go to the moon or president or whatever it is. Every kid believes those things until adults get a hold of them and adults start to put things in their head and self-doubts and tell them what's not possible, and then the world comes in and adds to that with the media and where you're born and all the different things that are put in. And eventually, and that's really what the paper I did was all about, I said what happens is the champion gets beat so much that they run to the corner and they start to cover up so that they don't get hit anymore. Not that it's necessarily somebody standing there hitting them, but they feel that way. And so they're trying to protect themselves, so they're sitting in the corner. And I said, the challenge is there's no one that's coming to them and helping them to recognize that they got this belt around, this championship belt around their waist, and letting them know that you were born a champion. It's time for you to get up and start taking swings and regain your championship. And that's why it was called Regain Your Championship. And so this gentleman, his conversation is a perfect example of that, where I'm saying the people that hit you and knock you into the corner and have you covering up and making you where you don't believe in yourself, because he's convinced that everyone doesn't have it in them. It's just something that you're born with. So basically, he would be a person that looks at those people and call them losers. And folks, that's pretty sad, especially since he's a person that he's telling me that he's telling his kids, because of what's in him, and his breed and how he was, who he is, and that they warriors. And he's like, but they're not like me. They're not driven like me. And he's like, so I'm pushing them and this and that. But if we go according to his belief, he's wasting his time, because either you have it or you don't, according to what he's saying. So if he believes that, and it's truly his belief, then why have those conversations with your kids? Because you don't believe it's possible for them anyway, because you don't believe it's in them. You don't believe they were born with it, because you believe you're either born with it or you're not. And that's why they're not driven like him. And folks, what I've shared, and that's what I was even sharing with him, is that even when it comes to fighting, there are certain boxers that if they get in trouble, they'll stop. But there are also certain fighters that will die before they stop. That's why they have to have an official in the ring, because you will have to actually kill them before they quit. Now, I'm not saying that's good, bad, right, or wrong. I don't know if that makes you smart, because you're willing to die in the ring, and that means you're a winner, or as this person is basically saying. I'm not here to say good, bad, right, or wrong. I think you're kind of crazy if you sit there and gonna let somebody beat the slop out of you instead of saying, hey, that old saying is about, hey, walk away to live to see another day. But if you determine no, because I got to prove a point, I'm not necessarily saying that's a good characteristic, although for him, he's basically saying that's the difference between people that are driven and winners and losers. And folks, nothing could be further from the truth, because like I've used the same thing in that is that he may be like that in certain areas. Like he's talking about because he's a worker and he's a hard worker. But at the same time, I could probably tell him, now we're going to have a event, and I want you to come up here and speak. I want you to talk in front of the people. And all of a sudden, he'll become that champion that's sitting in the corner with his thumb in his mouth, and he's covered up, because the fact is, it's not something he believes in himself in. See, folks, that's the reason I said when we put these tags, it's unfortunate that we do this, because what you're strong at, which is basically what he's saying, there's certain aspects, certain areas in his life that he's strong at. But at the same time, there's areas in his life that he's weak in, and other people are going to be strong at. I know his kids have places in them that's a lot stronger than what he has. And they could turn around and use his same philosophy back on him if that's, you know what I'm saying, if you want to play this tit for tat type of game, which of course I'm not recommending. That's not the way that we're trying to live this life. But I'm just trying to get the point across that we all have gifts. We all have strengths. We all have things that we consider to be our weaknesses, things that we may run from and we may go sit in the corner. The thing is, we don't need people telling us we're weak and and that we'll never amount to anything, or all the things. And I'm not saying he said that, but that's kind of the way the conversation was coming across. Is that no, people just he says like me, I'm just a winner, and I come from the hood and okay, but a lot of people don't realize the reason that he got that is it's called a survival mechanism. He had to do that because of the area that he was brought up in to survive. And now you're comparing that to someone who hasn't had to live in that environment, who's lived in a cush environment their entire life because their family has stuff. They were in nice areas, so they didn't have to deal with the streets. You guys follow me? So again, your strength of being tough is because the fact is that's the environment you lived in. They're not there, but that doesn't make them weaker than you. That means their mindset is different than yours. And so, but anyway, I just wanted to share that because if you're like him, I wanted to get that message across to not label people. Instead, encourage people. Like in his case, if he wants to teach his kids that, first he's going to have to recognize that they have a belt around their waist and that they are champions. And then he can help them, because based on what he's saying, he's wasting his time trying to teach his kids because he doesn't believe it's in them, because they weren't born with it. It's something that you have. And folks, again, nothing can be further from the truth. So again, the reason we're sharing this on Self-Love Monday is just because that. We got to get to the point where we understand we're not letting the outside people tell us how to feel about ourselves. We're definitely not buying into it if it's demeaning or it's going to tear us down. And as I've said before, shoot, if they're sharing information that's going to empower us and move us, we gonna take that stuff and run with it. All right, as you guys know, it ain't right, it ain't wrong. It is my opinion. Run on over to the Apple Store or the Google Play. Download my app, which is Simplified You, and that's the letter U, not the word U. Simplified You. It's a free download. It'll give you access to everything I got going on. A couple of new courses that I'm getting ready to put out here probably within the next couple of weeks. Definitely within the next month, I'll have about 3 new courses out. One of them is going to be coping with the loss of a loved one, which I know is going to be very powerful. And that one I'm doing because I feel in this environment that we're in, a lot of people are dealing with that right now. And I just think this is something that's very crucial to put out there. All right, so as you guys know, if you're not having fun, you should be doing something else. Don't be demeaning people. Don't be putting people down. And be just the opposite. Go out and help them understand they got a belt around their waist, and help uplift people. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye.